Financial Literacy 101. I'm trying to get this camera right, trying to try out this new stand I got, trying to get it right there. Okay, so I'm in my garage. I'm still contemplating if I'm gonna get a patio so I can do my cigar talks outside on my patio, or have a spot right here. You see where that little roof opening is right there? Right here, you see that outline? I'm thinking about doing something right there. Let me see if I can change the light. Give me 1 second. Um, that might be a little bit better light. But tonight, guys, for Cigar Talk, we're gonna be smoking on. We're gonna be enjoying what they call a definition cigar. This is a definition cigar. This is what they call the silver integrity band. Okay, the silver integrity band. This company is like no other company. First and foremost, this comes these are hand rolled in Nicaragua. So it's a Nicaraguan cigar, and this is medium to full body. Nice, real smooth. You have a lot of flavors involved with this one. But what's really important about this cigar that I really want you guys to know above all other cigars, this particular cigar is black owned. That's right. Look up Definition Cigars, and they have three partners. All of them are black. These are black owned cigar company. And what I like about this cigar company is this particular ring right here. This is their signature brand. And see, that's why I love when black people do things, we do them the right way. I'm not saying all the time, but when we really do something good, not only do I see all people smoking this cigar, when I go to a local cigar lounge here, I see whites and blacks smoking this, and they really giving this cigar brand praise about how smooth and how well taken care of them. This company is doing very, very well. Again, this is Definition Cigars. This is what they call the Silver Integrity Band. All of their cigars, okay, all of their cigars, let me see if I can move. That light is going to be doing that all day. All of their cigars, okay, are have these bands on them. They have different colors. They have silver, red, blue, and that kind of tells you what type of cigar that it is, okay? So without further ado, what we're going to do here, I'm going to give it a V cut, okay, right now. Oh, that smells good. I'm going to do a V cut, as we can tell. Okay, I'm about to clean that up later. All right, got the V cut in there now. Make sure I do this right, okay? Now, what I like to do first with my cigars, and we're going to get into a discussion, but I'm going to start doing a little more introduction with my cigar, doing these cigar talks, okay? And these cigar talks are pretty much to kind of go over the last week, what we went over, what's going on in the world, just random talking, okay? You don't got nothing to do, listen to me. If not, go watch a movie. So now I just like to burn the tobacco in here. That's it. I just like to give it a little black. Then I like to smell it, to kind of give you a sense of what you'll be getting yourself involved into, the aroma, the flavor, this, that, and the other. Now, I think I'm going to start bringing maybe a drink to pair it with. These are new cigars for me, so I don't really know what to pair. I don't know what this one's really all about. Because some people think that you always pair a cigar with scotch. No, scotch doesn't go with every cigar. You can pair some cigars even with vanilla flavored liquor, or vodka, bourbon, whiskey. There's all things you can actually flavor cigar with. But give me a second here. It almost has like a chocolate taste to it. Very, very smooth. Very smooth. Very, very good flavor, very good taste. Definition Definition cigars are black owned, okay? Black owned cigars. And I'm absolutely enjoying them. The place that I go to, these do not last more than 2 days. They will literally buy multiple cases. And when people come in there, you'll see the whole cigar shop smoking one of these with different bands. Again, Definition Cigars. This is the Integrity Silver Band, and it's called the Round Toro. Okay, the Round Toro. As far as I know, I could be wrong, but as far as I know, it's a Round Toro. So Have to like the head again. When you see a small head like this, you need to like the head more. But anyway, guys, let's get into the discussion. What happened last week? I mean, really, we saw that essentially Robinhood lost a lot of trust with the people by delisting a lot of the stocks. Again, that was GameStop, BlackBerry, Nokia, Ford. Well, not Ford. Ford stayed on there. AMC. But what I found out is that two other platforms delisted those stocks as well. And if I can recall, someone told me there was Fidelity and TD Ameritrade or E-Trade. It was one of those two. Put it in the chat room, guys. But it was another two platforms that actually delisted those stocks. And what you guys don't understand is why didn't Webull delist those stocks? We know Webull, it was actually owned and operated by the Chinese to operate on the American stock markets. That's another platform. Webull was actually created by the Chinese, and the platform Robinhood Invest was actually created and developed by some Indians. So essentially, when they did this, when they delisted those stocks off those platforms, you're talking about essentially a dictatorship when it comes to investing, because they did not get the approval of FINRA. They did not get the approval of the Federal Trade Commission or the Security Exchange Commission or any other federal government in order to do so. So let me tell you what occurred with me. Because of that move by Robinhood, and I thought that the federal government was going to actually jump in, even though the federal lawsuit scared essentially Robinhood to do the right thing. What they did was, on Friday, you could have went back in and invested in GameStop and AMC and BlackBerry, all those stocks they delisted, but you wasn't able to fractional invest. That was kind of their correction. That was kind of their fix. But nonetheless, on an option, because of the volatility of them making that action occur, they curtailed the market in the way people stopped making money because they try to rectify the issue. But what they did was, people like myself who saw that AMC was popping, I went in and bought an option so I can capitalize off the quick influx of AMC popping. So I found out the information about the Wall Street Bets Reddit group, after I already bought an option. So essentially, traders who were in that space of trading those stocks without the information that was blowing up all across the internet with the Reddit group Wall Street Bets, we lost out money, and it was not fair. Now, that's why a lot of people that I know coming from my neighborhood in Washington, D.C. tell me, I don't understand investment and I don't want to invest because they believe that people are going to steal their money. Let me tell you something. Anytime you lose on the market, anytime you have an option that expired out of the money like I did for $1,000, let me tell you this. Somebody on the other end got that money. Money just don't disappear, okay? When you invest money in the market and your stocks go down or your option expires out of the money, that money is going to somebody else. It just don't just get lost in money space. There's no such thing as money space. Money in this economy is a living thing, and it's always being transferred or spent. That's, transferred or spent or invested. That's it. That's how money is being transferred around the world. So when you invest your money into anything, stocks, bonds, commodities, ETFs, mutual funds, it really doesn't matter because money is always being transferred, invested, or spent. And so when I invested that, $1,000 into AMC, essentially, I was down $1,000. And I'm going to tell you what else. See, what people don't understand is this. They believe that action that Robinhood and TD Ameritrade and I believe Fidelity did, they believe that it had no other ramifications within the stock market. That is what they believe. They believe that it had no other ramifications in the stock market, and that is 100% wrong. It had huge ramifications in the stock market. I had another option expiring as well. That one was called Grow Generation. It was a stock that I gave out to my members channel. Now, someone asked me about Jaguar Health. Okay, someone asked me about Jaguar Health. They're around $3 something. But here's the thing: if you're a member of my channel, you pay the $2, $3 a month. I did a stock review on Jaguar Health, and that will tell you, okay, that will tell you what I think about Jaguar Health. And this is why, these cigar talks are important. During a week, I try to take a lot of my time to research these stocks. Also, look for headlines and, other information and other pieces of content that I give you guys throughout the week. So this is very important information. But Cigar Talks is where I'm going to be very attentive. And if you guys have questions, please. I should have did this essentially on StreamYard, okay? Because I went from Restream to StreamYard, and I could have been doing this on my phone. But if you guys got questions, leave them right there in the chat. If I see them, I'll make sure I answer them. But Cigar Talks is more of a personal thing between you and whoever wants to view it, okay? I know a lot more people, instead of information, they want entertainment. I'm not really an entertainment guy. I'm more of a information guy. So if I know it, I'll tell you. But if you want the stock review on Jaguar Health, because one of the subscribers talked about that, that is actually a member special. Again, that's just another package supporting the channel. So I can buy cool gadgets to constantly give you guys great information when it comes to your money. And don't forget, this channel does a lot about investing, but I also help people to get out of debt. I help people to teach them how to save their money and save for the emergency fund, for a vacation, for all sorts of things. I talk about 529 college plans, as well as looking over certain deals and contracts. I know I have a group. We haven't been touching bases. The power here last night had some issues with the internet, this, that, and the other. But I was supposed to have a meeting with them last night to go over their house plan. So there's a lot of things that I do on this channel that I try to help people more so than take a lot of their money, even though I want it. Again, what I'm smoking here, guys, is a Definition cigar. This is a Black-owned company. Again, the name is Definition Cigars. This is a Black-owned company, and they have these made and hand-rolled in Nicaragua, okay? This is a medium body, medium to full, nice and smooth. I don't know what I compared this with that, because every cigar is not to be paired with scotch, okay? You got bourbon, you got whiskey, you got cognac. So there's different cigars. And what I like about this is each of their different cigars have different color bands. And some people, while they smoke it, they just put it on their finger. It's just one of those things. It defines the cigar. So I like the name. Again, it's a Black-owned company, okay? So what else? So we talked about slightly about investing in investments. And this is my thing, guys. Let's talk about debt. I know, don't turn off your cameras. Don't turn off your phone or your TV. People start to get very weary when we talk about debt. Ladies and gentlemen, I know we've incurred a lot of debt throughout this last year, going into 2021, when it comes to the coronavirus and then your everyday lives, okay? People wasn't accounting for, I need to buy 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 masks. Oh, I might need to go get, pay somebody to take the COVID-19 test. But here's the thing. Your debt is still accumulating. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, this is a great time. This is a perfect time to refinance your house. Right now, I'm in the process of refinancing. I qualify for 2.25, but for some reason, they're like, oh, in order for you to get 1.79, you need an 800 credit score. They only know that because my credit score is around 750, 760. I opened up a new American Express credit card, so it went down some points, but it bounced back once my debt to income ratio changes. But nonetheless, you need an 800 credit score, and some of them you need an 800 credit score to get this 1.79%. But for those of you who own houses, If you've been in your house more than 8, 9 months, please look into refinances because you're going to drop. If you are any percent above 3.25, you will drop more than a percent. You will drop a percent or more if your mortgage rate is above 3.25. And why this is important, again, there is different ways for you to get money instead of going into debt. And if you did a cash out refi for your home, now this will be my last option because you are taking equity from the home, which lowers the house value. Even if somebody comes in appraise, it's just that the amount of money that accumulates for having a house for so long because you're making payments increases your equity. But when you pull out, okay, when you pull out equity, it lowers the appreciation of your home. But bump all of that. If you need the money, you need the money. So not only do you save money by refi, but you can do a cash out refi where you can take, $4, 5, 6, $10,000 outside your house. Because if you need it, you need it. Now you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing that if you're just trying to get a pair of Jordans. You shouldn't be doing that if you're just trying to buy a dress. You shouldn't be doing it to buy some cool gadget or something like that. Now, here's another option. When you cash out refi and say, for instance, you get 8 grand. If I were you, I will upgrade my house because a lot of people will take a cash out refi and they will use that money to upgrade their home. Because believe it or not, if you took out 10 grand, let's just take, for instance, you did a cash out refi, you lower your interest rate, so your payments are smaller, and let's just say, for instance, you got 10,000 back. What if you put that inside of a bathroom? What if you put that inside of your kitchen? That's where the money really goes. I spent a lot of money in this garage, putting stuff like that up there. You see that? And if I go over this side, I have everything hung on the wall. So whoever gets this even this shelf up here, but someone's going to appreciate that. And I got the 4 epoxy. So you put the money back in your home and you also raise the value. Let me tell you something. Now, to upgrade my bathroom, it only cost me $300. It's a guest bathroom. There's no shower. It's just the one with the sink, mirror, and toilet, right? You got to excuse me as I enjoy this cigar. I know you guys want instant information. Stay with me. I'm going to get there, but I have to enjoy this too. That's smooth. So when you're doing this, it took me $300 to upgrade my bathroom, right? So I got the light, the mirror. What's going on? Nothing. You about to go to bed? No, I'm just about to take a shower. They're nasty kids. Anyway, so what I did was, those 3. Hold on, let me show you. I'm gonna show you what they put in these houses, right? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna show you the lights that they come. It don't matter. This house is only 5 years old. Okay, I'm the second owner, but I'm gonna show you what I put in there versus what they had in there. Give me 1 second. You might still hear my voice. Hold on. All right. Okay. Hopefully, I still got everybody here. All right. We got some people who left. Now, granted, this is what I'm talking about when you need to upgrade your home, okay? This is Cigar Talk for those who are just joining. This is random talks about finances in all different types of ways. There's not one way to talk about your money and how to save money. So this is what they put in your house. Now, granted, somebody will say, that's nice. That's because they never lived in a nice house before. And I'm not shaming anyone. It's just a matter. When I first moved into my first house, I thought this was pretty cool. Like, oh man, that's brushed nickel. They got the little frosted glasses. That's really nice. You would think that's really nice, right? And they got this where you mount it and this, that, and the other, right? Okay. So I changed those lights out and I put these lights in. You see what I'm saying? It's a much cleaner, sleek look. Picture when you spent the night at the Marriott or the Hilton and you went inside the bathroom and you're like, oh, that looks nice. Like one of these lights, Okay, so that 300 that I spent upgrading that bathroom probably made that bathroom more valuable. That bathroom is probably worth now $1,000. Okay, this kind of give you a sense when an appraiser comes inside your house, he's looking at all the upgrades. He's looking at, how did you take care of it, scuffs in the floor. Believe it or not, they do a thorough check to put an appraised value on your home. So it's important to do little upgrades like that to keep your house updated. Okay. Now, the great thing about Texas, what I like is they do a lot of brick homes. So with brick homes, they don't look old really. You can change it. You can just change the windows and literally change the outlook of a brick home. That's the powerful of brick homes. Now, when you go to up there in Washington State, they do these panel homes, these paneling homes. They look absolutely old and cheap. So it's imperative that you understand where you're buying, what you're buying, and the amount of work that you might have to put into it. Because again, you take some lights like this. Anybody who know about houses, this is old. This is kind of like new old school where it has the brush. It's not the old gold tarnished look, but the amount of money, if you do this cash out refi, if you don't need all the money, because essentially if you got to work, then I understand you need the money to pay your bills, but you should be putting the money back inside of your home. It's going to make your home that much more valuable. It really is. But there's a lot of other things that you guys can do during a down economy. Well, the one thing I'm noticing that people don't like to do, they don't like to hustle. They don't like to hustle. And one of the things that you have to do in a down economy is not just invest all your money and hope that you make it big. Because a lot of people are just betting. A lot of people are using the stock market as a gambling field. Just hoping to throw a lot of money in the stock market and wish that you're gambling. No. During a down market, there's a lot of people who just want to go to their job and make money. But now that your job no longer exists, what are you going to do? There's little things that you guys can be doing to actually make a lot of money. First and foremost, the housing market is hot right now. I know a lot of people who are mobile notaries and notaries who are literally taking the whole mobile notary thing to the full extreme where they are setting up now in Texas. I think mobile notaries only get $10 or $15 to do a notary. But what these people are doing, they are notarizing eight to 10 people a day. If they can, most likely is 6, but they're getting $15, $15. Now think about it like this. I'm no mathematician. I usually use a calculator. I don't have it out here with me. But this picture, if you did 15 times 6, okay, and then 6 times 25, how much money would you come up with? So people are actually making a living off of mobile notaries. Now, granted, some people are not willing to do this with their car. What about Uber? There's still ways to make money in a down market. For you guys who are just tuning in, this is Cigar Talk. We talk about random financial things over a good cigar. Right now, this cigar is called the Definition Cigar with the silver integrity band, and it's called a round Toro. This is a black-owned company, and I believe they're out of Dallas, Texas. Okay, this is a black-owned company, and believe me, everybody liking this car, no matter your color. Okay, anyway. What I've noticed in a down economy, instead of people trying to find new innovative ways to actually make more money, they make more excuses. Oh, I need the stimulus check. And the stimulus check should be an investment for a business function, like paying for your mobile notary or paying for you to make t-shirts or bakery goods or food, whatever you love to do. This is the thing. Figure out what the market wants and serve the market. If people are not buying t-shirts, oh man, I'm just gonna make t-shirts, then don't sell t-shirts. You get what I'm trying to say? You need to find out what people want or what people think they want. And then you need to turn that want into a need. Listen, the best salesmen know how to come into your home, excuse me, a good salesman knows how to come into your home and sell you $1,000 vacuum that you may want, but you absolutely don't need, but they make you feel like you need this $1,000 vacuum. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about Kirby vacuums. They got me. They got me. Ooh, it's been about 15 years ago, and they just got my boy not too long ago, but he returned it back. So what they do is they come in with these Kirby vacuums and they tell you go get your old vacuum. Let's give you an example, okay? So Cigar Talks, we can go anywhere and everywhere. But nonetheless, they tell you get your vacuum. They tell you vacuum a spot, right? Or they put down dirt or something like that, show and tell, so to speak. And then they will vacuum it up. They will let you vacuum it up and they will show you it's still dirt down here. Look at this dirt. Then they'll get the Kirby vacuum, and that thing is powerful. It will suck up everything, okay? But then they tell you that the Kirby vacuum, and then they will shampoo and clean one of the carpets in your home, the living room, the bedroom, whatever you want. This to show you that it's also a carpet cleaner that can shampoo your carpet. Then it comes with all these other attachments. Oh, you can do your ceiling fans. You can do all this other crazy stuff. It's gimmicky, but it is a great vacuum. So when you guys are looking for vacuums, right, this is an example of how great salesmen sell people for things they think they need versus they just want it. You guys go in the store and you're like, oh, you're looking at the Dysons. The Dysons are really, oh man, that's $400. Bitch, you're paying $1,000. Then Kirby has they have the gall to say, oh, you can finance this. I'm not financing no goddamn vacuum. Come on. That's just an example. But you need to find out what the market really needs and wants. And here's another thing. If you are really good talker, you can convince people to do things they really don't want to do, then in that case, it don't really matter what you sell. People can be broke and still give you their money. Ain't that crazy? People can be broke and still give you their money. Think about that. I want you guys to think about that. How in the hell can broke people give you money if they don't have none? Broke people find out a way to get the stuff that they want, not the stuff that they need, okay? So what else happened this week? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to tell you that there are still a lot of racist killings. There's been all types of stories that I've been watching on some of the news networks. Okay, we said, AW said, appreciate your information. Don't know about T-Set, never smoked a cigar before, but what's your advice for beginners? And good evening. Yeah, good evening to you too, Jermaine Anderson. Let me just finish this one bit, Nolan, and I'll get back to the cigar. There's been a lot of racial incidents, and there's mostly been white against black. A lot of racially profiling. I remember now the news places. Let me tell you some of the places I get my news. I get my news from the African diaspora and also the Phyllis Scott Show. He's in charge of both of those. He has a couple of channels out. I think I'm subscribed to all of his channel. He gets some really good information. Also, I subscribe to TD Hip Hop Media. Brother gives out great information with that as well. Of course, I'm subscribed to the Black Authority, Professor Black Truth. Who else? Dr. Boyce Watkins and Tariq Nasheed, Tariq Radio. But nonetheless, when I'm still noticing that there's still a lot of violent acts against black people simply because of the color of our skin. I mean, this has not changed in any manner throughout the course of time. And I just listened to a song by Uncle Murder. And I'm going to tell you what that song did to me. It was a 4-minute song. It came out a day ago. Look up Uncle Murder. And murder is M-U-R-D-A. Uncle Murder. And with that song, if you listen, it's only like 4 minutes long. I encourage you guys to go listen to the song. And basically the whole song is pointing out all these violent acts against our people. But the message in the song, this is just me, this is my perspective. Okay, I can't say what it really is, But the message in the song is for black people to fight back. It's to literally fight back. Because I'm going to tell you what occurs to us. Now, we walk out our house. You are automatically a target, whether you like it or not. Whether you have white friends or not, you are a target. Okay? And what you will notice is with you're around other groups and, police brutality comes up. They always kind of want to bring up, in a sense of a word or a phrase, well, what about black on black violence? And you're just like, whoa, we're talking about police brutality and police impunity. I said it right, police impunity, not immunity, police impunity, look it up. And how they mistreat and discriminate against black people, these race soldiers. Not all police are bad now, but there's a good amount of them. There's a good amount of them who are very racist and are race soldiers to, harm, kill, and undermine black people by all means. But what happens in these discussions are they like to deflect from the real problem. And the real problem is that black people do not have justice in this nation because the powers that be don't really see us as citizens. I mean, that goes back to, Dre versus Scott, nonetheless. So with that being said, with this Uncle Murder song, he's talking about basically with a lot of other people I listen to is exercise your Second Amendment rights. Now, the other issues with exercising our Second Amendment rights is a lot of black men have been incarcerated, okay, with felony charges. And with that, you can't own a firearm. You can't own a firearm. See, this is how they disarm us. This is how they disarm us. See, they disarm us with religion. They disarm us with mass incarceration. They disarm us with ill health practices like pushing vaccines. Tyler Perry, my brother, I don't care if you took 1, 2, or 3 doses of vaccine. Understand how black people have been used and abused by taking vaccine. You should not be pushing this, Tyler Perry. You should not be pushing this. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you read Medical Apartheid, okay, with kind of explicitly and details all of the atrocities that the European descendants and the European nation, that means America and Europe, okay, the Western powers have literally has killed millions of us by testing some sort of pharmaceutical drugs or some sort of procedure. See, most black people know about the Tuskegee experiment. And I always tell black people, listen, learn more. Stop this. It happened more than one time. We think it's George Floyd. What else? Mike Brown was before George Floyd. So we got these one hitter quitters. No, when it comes to explaining stuff to people and you want to make a very, very strong point, guess what? You have to have multiple examples to prove your point, unfortunately. Because you only need, but to prove that white supremacy exists and still current, and this is what I was telling people prior to the election. Everybody got their eyes on Donald Trump. Listen, white supremacy existed way before Donald Trump, and it's going to exist way after Donald Trump if black people don't come united. This is the issue. This is how they get us. We are not united. So now that Joe Biden is in office, you look to other people, you're like, well, what now? He's giving everybody tangibles. He's giving Asians tangibles. He's giving Hispanics tangible and letting a lot of them come across the border under the DACA program and other subsidies. He's talking about letting 11 million immigrants inside of the country. Guess who they're going to be for? They're going to be for the Democrats because that's the ones who let them in the country. You are, well, you're a Trump supporter, you're a Republican. No, I'm neither one. Everybody who is probably trying to know that I'm non-political. I'm a vote when reparations is on the table for sure. Like, here's my campaign promises. I'm giving X, Y, and Z to black people. I'm giving individual cash payments. I'm giving grants. I'm not giving loans. You guys don't need loans. We don't need more debt. We need grants. Opportunity. I'm going to black communities. I'm going to increase your resources by building up your community centers, building up your schools, building up your clinics. I'm talking about real tangibles. So that's when I'll vote. Now, going back to the vaccine for, the 19 virus, we have a lot of high profile people telling us to take this vaccine. Ladies and gentlemen, again, let me verify one of my professions. I was a chemical, biological, and radiological soldier in the U.S. Army. Now, my group, we did not deal with vaccines. Okay, that's way above and beyond of what we've done, but we understand vaccines, dealing with biology, dealing with chemicals. We go through all of these extensive classes, very long, boring chemical and biological classes, but we learn a lot of information, okay? We learn a lot of information. But with that being said, what people don't understand is when they cultivate, when they create, when they develop a vaccine, there's different phases and different stages that a vaccine goes through. So when you skip and they skip a phase, it's called the human phase, the human trial phase, where they get certain control groups. They didn't do that. They went right from the petri dish under the microscope, figured out how it's going to intertwine and affect the mRNA, some sort of strand of your RNA, I believe, and attack a certain enzyme or protein. My words all over the place, but you guys understand what I'm talking about. Good evening, Shauna. Good evening, Jerry. Good evening, Mitch. Thank you for joining the Cigar Talk, and for you guys who are just, joining me today. We know that Cigar Talks are very random information, just anything that occurred from the last week, just random stuff. And tonight's cigar is a definition cigar. This is a definition cigar. This band actually comes on it. This is a black-owned company. There's 3 owners. All of them are black. There's a black-owned company. And they get these hand-rolled in Nicaragua. And this is what you call the Silver Integrity Band, which is and the cigars are round Toro, if I'm not mistaken. These are hot right now. Believe me, the cigar shop I go to, whites, blacks, everybody is buying this cigar. They have silver, red, blue, gold, all different types of color, all different types of flavor. Look out for Definition Cigars, and they do have an Instagram page. Now, we continue as a group of people, united or divided. We let certain talking points deflect us from the real goal. Oh, well, Donald Trump's a racist. Okay, there's been a lot of racist presidents, and I know a lot of you love Obama. Let me be real with you. I voted for Obama too, but Obama did nothing for black people. Oh, he's American president, but all the other American presidents did something for groups of people who supported them, their constituents. And this is what people don't understand. I tell people right off the bat, well, if that's the case, why did Obama do things for the Native Americans explicitly, exclusively? Why did he give the Holocaust survivor Jews millions of dollars? Why did he give the Native Americans another 1 million acres of land in Utah? Oh, well, this is their land and so on. What people don't understand that Moors traveled the land way before the Mongolians came over and the Alaskans came over. When the continents was put together, there was already melanated people here. Okay, and some people believe that Africans and the Mongolians, okay, got together, made babies, and that's why you have, Indians have like a reddish, they call them red, but a reddish tint. And here's another thing. It's amazing how we use the terms black and white in this country, but then we use Hispanic and we use Asian, Native American. Uh, as I was growing up, there was a color caste system in America. But what I'm saying is that only reverts to black and white people. It doesn't even account for everybody else. We used to call Native American red. We used to call Hispanics brown. And every now and again, you'll hear people say black and brown people. You'll hear that. But that term, the brown part is really going on. They're going Latino and Hispanic and things of that nature. But why is it this? Again, we go right back to what? Black and white. So we go back to who did you support? Who did you vote for? Not saying that what you did was wrong. But the question is, who did you vote for? And what did you get for your vote? Now that Donald Trump is not in office, I like to ask all my black friends, all my black enemies, and all the people that I know, what did you get for your vote? Show me. What did black people get for their vote? Hold up. Let me check it. Let me check it. I don't see anything. I don't see anything. I'm going to do one more check because when we talk about voting, every group gets tangibles except the black community. They don't even give our communities money to build up community centers and schools and clinics and all other sorts of resources, okay? I'm going to get back on the vaccine in a second. I'm going to do one more check for you bootlicks out there who like, well, you know, Donald Trump was a bad figure for America. Okay, what else? That is all. So let me do one more check. Hold on. Nope. No difference. No difference. Black people still don't got nothing. Don't make anything. And here's another issue. Some people think and some people receive more money under Trump than they did under Obama. That's political, believe it or not. Usually Republicans are business, they're business first. They want to support businesses, whether small or large. And then Democrats come in, they mostly pander and peck and beg to poor people to put them in office. And then when they get into office, if you guys go to blackdemographics.com, that's blackdemographics.com, you're going to see a chart on there when you're talking about the median income of black people, how under, who was the president before Obama? Bush, right? How at the end of Bush term, the black median wealth decreased. And above Obama, it started to tick up, but at the end of his presidency, it started to go down. Then under Trump, it went up. And it's some trickle effect here and there, okay? But this is how they attack black people on all different fronts. They hit you with the vaccine thing. And we've been through this before, ladies and gentlemen. And the problem with most of us, let's just keep it real. We don't like to read. We don't like to read. And I can give out information. I can give out books all the time. And the book that you guys should absolutely read, or at least breeze or glance at while you're in Barnes and Noble, or read a sample on your Google book reads or your Alexa Kindles, whatever you have, is The Medical Apartheid. It's a red and black book. I forgot the author, but it's called Medical Apartheid. How in Kenya they made over 100 women infertile, so they could not have babies. They gave blacks in America yellow fever to see how we respond. We already know about the Tuskegee experiment. Those are just a few to kind of get you guys started that you may not have been aware of. Everybody knows about the whole syphilis thing, but they probably know about the yellow fever or the infertility of those Kenyan women back in Africa. But they have always been testing different things on melanated people, okay? South Africa super COVID variant infects Baltimore resident, the third in U.S., okay? What else we got here? Perry Brown said, yeah, you're right. Now, he is saying here, Jerry, excuse my finger here, guys, but Jerry L. Brooks is saying that there's a super COVID variant infects Baltimore resident, the third in the U.S. as the the country surpassed 26 million cases. Now, what I've heard is that the virus actually decreased, I guess. But now there's a new variant. When it comes to the virus, let's just be real. Wear your mask, keep some hand sanitizer on you. Try, keep your mask over your mouth and nose when you're out and you're around people you don't, live with. Stay your 6 feet as much as possible. Sometimes that's not possible. You touch stuff with your bare hands, keep that hand sanitizer on you, put a little in your hand, keep it moving. That's all you're gonna really do, ladies and gentlemen. And also what I do is I did a full checkup, and my white cell body count was low. The white cells were down. And so I'm starting to take things to boost my immune system, echinacea, zinc. And that's why it's always good to do a physical checkup. That way, I wasn't taking a multivitamin. Now I'm back on my core calcium. I'm back on my echinacea. I'm back on my zinc, my vitamin D. Okay. So I'm back on my regimen of, just kind of boosting my immune system, keep it strong. So that way you may not have, issues. Because, okay, I'm going to be real with you. I really think that we're all going to catch COVID in some form or manner. Some of you may be asymptomatic, which, again, you might have already had COVID, but you was asymptomatic. Some of you may just lose your sense of taste and your of smell. Some of you may be hospitalized. Some of you may have to go on an oxygen tank and or what they call it? Oxygen tank. But you guys, I forgot, they've been sent all over the news. I just lost what those things are called when you're sitting there and it's breathing for you. I forgot what it's called. But that's just the reality of it, okay? Because these vaccines, as a lot of people are noticing, there's all these different variants, all these different strains, all these just for a transformation of the virus. So who's to say, and they're saying, ventilators. Thank you, Shauna. Ventilators. Thank you. Ventilators. Got it. So with all these different variants, all these different transformations, all these different mutations of the virus, what vaccine is going to work for them? Because look at it like this. They said, well, if you take the vaccine, you take the one for Pfizer and then you take one for Moderna, it's still going to work effectively. Like, whoa. And see, think about this, what Tyler Perry said. Tyler Perry said, I took the first and second dose of the virus vaccine. Someone tell me, I'm throwing on the fan real quick. Someone please tell me in history where they said they made a vaccine. Tell me where they made a vaccine and you had to take 2 different vaccines for a virus from 2 different companies. Somebody please inform me of that. Anybody? When in history you had to take 2 doses of a different vaccine from 2 different companies, and other companies are still making vaccines like Johnson & Johnson. We know that this is going to all boil down to money. We know that. So my advice to anybody who wants to listen to it is take your vitamins, strengthen your immune system, wear your mask, wear it over your nose and mouth. If you start seeing people doing this, that means you can catch it. What's the purpose? You can't give it. That's why I don't correct people, man. You should have that over your nose. No, if you want COVID, go ahead and get it, but put it up. That's it. 6 feet away, mask, vitamins. Keep hand sanitizer on you. That's all you can do. Because me personally, COVID-19 ain't taking me out. You got to speak some things into the atmosphere, into existence to say, hey, I'm not down because of COVID-19. I will fight my body. I'll fight COVID-19 to the last breath. It's not taking me out. But getting back on politics and police brutality and What has changed for black people, man? Let's see here. Michelin says when professional athletes take the vaccine, then I will consider. Then I will consider taking the vaccine. Owners and the league will not allow an untested vaccine to touch any of the big money players. Thank you, Mitch. It's unfounded. They don't know if it works. You guys who are like, oh, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll be okay. I done took worse stuff than this. Is it worse than heroin? And that goes to show you that a lot of these millionaires, a lot of these people are not taking the virus. They're waiting. And that's a good point that Mitch made. Hey, when I start seeing big money athletes, when I start seeing like when Denzel comes out and say, hey, I took the vaccine, I may blink at it once. It's like, that's all he gonna get. Because I'm gonna tell you this. Most vaccines take anywhere from 3 to 5 years before it gets to the public. It takes 3 to 5 years before it even gets to the public. But this is the problem when you vote in people into office that do not have your best interests at heart. Let me ask you guys something. You remember when the Democrats was wearing kente cloth? I think it was from Kenya kente cloth, and they were bound kneeling down and putting their fist up. Now I thought about it for a long time. They didn't know what they essentially was wearing, but I realized I think Obama told them to do that. He said where it is, because we understand that Obama's father is Kenyan, right? And Kenyans love Obama. Oh, you became president, the most powerful. Okay, whatever. I understand that a little bit, which means nothing to no American. But where did most of the enslaved Africans come from? West Africa. Did they go talk to Nigeria about what they should be wearing? I'm just saying. I digress. But here are the many ways that politicians actually pander to black people, and how they go about this is, I want you to really think Obama, Bush, Hillary, Joe Biden. I want you to think about this. What do they wear? What do they do? Or what do they say to Asians? And that include Indians as well. What do they say to the Muslims, to the Catholics? Because they break all these groups up to like Catholics, Muslims, Hispanics, Asians, Pacific Islanders. If you notice, they don't say nothing to them. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed they don't say anything to other groups? They don't. They don't say nothing to them. They don't say, well, hey, Asians. They don't come out in a Komodo dragon dress or suit pandering to Asian people, because they don't need to pander to Asian people. You get what I'm saying? They don't need to pander. They don't need to pander to other groups, because they're giving other groups tangibles. They're giving other groups resources. That's why you don't see Asians and Indians and Muslims and Catholics on TV. You just see black people and some Hispanic people, and you rarely see white Hispanics. You don't see Arabic people on there either. You don't see Jewish people on there either, because any American president, I think they have signed some damn agreement stating that we're going to give everybody tangibles except black people. I feel that way sometimes. Okay, case in point. Let's just do some like realization, down to earth. When did you hear Joe Biden talk to Asian people? When did you hear that? When did you hear Joe Biden talking to Asian people? And if you did hear him, it was very, very, very brief. The only ones he talked to are black people. And look, not even Hispanic citizens, not even brown citizens. he go and talk to immigrants first. Have you noticed that? That is so damn disrespectful. Here we are, the poorest group in the nation, and he would rather go out and talk to people who are not even citizens. But that's right, America. You voted for him. Now, when it comes to America, I'm talking about Black America. And some of you like, well, we had to get Donald Trump out of office. We didn't have to do shit. See, we're so worried about what everybody else is doing, what everybody else is saying, but we're not worried about ourselves. When we start to unite, and look, it don't got to be all of us. Can we get 50% of you guys? Can we get 20 million people to say, we're not going to vote until you give us reparations? And reparations is individual cash payment to each foundational Black American. Then we want grants. We don't want loans for X, Y, and Z, whatever people start to determine. Yes, that's right. We need to start making demands just like other groups. And we need to say, here's what we're going to do. These two very most powerful things that every Black person can do. Very easy. First and foremost, you hold your vote for ransom. You say, well, hey, whatever you guys think, I'm not voting until reparations on. And reparations in these form, increasing funding and resources for our communities, our clinics, our schools, our community centers, etc. Okay, increase the funding for Black people to get psychiatry. Okay, go see a psychiatrist. These are the things that we need in the Black community because we are a traumatized group. Can we get half of us to do it? But the problem is we have a lot about Generation X, the baby boomers, who are just glad to see a Democrat in office. And what they don't know is what they should know is the generation before them were all Republicans. Black people used to be Republicans since Lincoln, because Lincoln was a Republican who released the slaves, well, with some contingencies, because he really wanted to keep us in slavery. But I'll move on. And there are some rumors, there is some chatter that Martin Luther King was a Republican, which really doesn't surprise me at all if he was or he wasn't, because most Black people were Republicans. And then during the 60s, I think it was Johnson who kind of, did some things for Black people with civil rights, which, if you notice, civil rights didn't mean nothing because we're still in the same predicament, if not worse than we are now. And then we all became Democrats. And some of the things that a lot of the presidential candidates used to do, they don't even do no more. They used to lie to us. They used to make a lot of empty promises. But guess what? Since Bush, they haven't done none of that. They haven't hey, what we're going to do for Black people, we're going to put a food truck. We're going to put a food truck in the Black community. We're going to make sure it has catfish, collard greens, butter biscuits, and we're going to make sure that Jim Clyburn is there with his annual fish fry. You guys are going to have a great time. They don't even lie to us no more. They don't even say what they're going to do for Black people. They start speaking around the issue for people of color. Ladies and gentlemen, can I inform you of something when we talk about people of color? Can I tell you something? I want you to really, really think about it. People of color is everybody. White is a color. Brown, red, yellow. People of color involves literally the whole entire nation. Minorities. Think about it. Who are minorities? Don't count yourself if you're Black and you're minority. Just say, I'm African American, I'm Black, I'm a Nubian, I'm a Moor, whatever. You're Black, you're melanated. Just say melanated. Because when we start tying ourselves in all of these groups, when do we receive any of these resources? When do we receive any of these resources? We don't receive none of these resources when we start talking like that. And we start become divided because, a couple of us voted on health care. We voted on health care. Some of us voted on justice, which justice was not on the table. Even with justice, they pander to us. Have you noticed that? They say, oh, we're not going to defund the police. And the term defund police, I know there's a lot of takes on that term. And for me, let's be sensible about this. I don't want the police department to have a zero budget. I mean, they won't operate. And we understand that there's a lot of policemen who don't contribute to white supremacy or are white supremacists, but there is a large group of them. Let's just keep it real. And with that being said, now I do believe that police budgets should have been decreased, not defunded, decreased. They should have said decrease the police. That's what they should have said, okay? Sounds even better. But nonetheless, we as a unit of black people, we started voting for all of these panderous terms. And what I mean by pander, a form of pandering was this. When Kamala Harris allowed herself to get video with Chuck Taylor's on. When she went on the Ricky Smiley show and she was singing Atomic Dawn. And then Ricky Smiley reverberate that over the internet. Oh, she know the Atomic Dawn, that's my president. Now I'm gonna tell you this too. A lot of people found out ways not to vote based on Kamala Harris and or Joe Biden. But let's make one thing clear. Let's not get into colorism like everybody else is getting to colorism. And what I mean is, oh, I'm not voting for her because she ain't no real black woman. Oh, she ain't black because of X, Y, and Z. Listen, she has African melanation, but that's besides the point. None of that should matter to you. I don't care if the person that gives us tangibles, gives us reparation, is black, blue, green, purple, clear, invisible, whatever. Let's see, Shauna said this, then think about how these pharmaceutical, okay, we pass immunity and liability, have no consequences, people of color is everybody, LOL, that's true. Steve Brown, what's going on, Steve Brown? And these are the things, for you, ladies and gentlemen out there and my buddy said this on live, we have a group called We Retired Now, and a lot of us retired guys, we get together, we have these discussions. But he was saying how, I look at CNN and I look at MSNBC and I throw some other, so I can get a healthy balance. And I used to be him a couple of years ago. I used to be him about 4 years ago. Then I really started realizing it was kind of like you had the red or the blue pill from the Matrix. They said, hey, you take the red pill, your whole world is going to be shattered. What you know to be real is actually a farce, and you're living in a fake reality. And you live in a fake reality if you take this red pill. You will be awakened from that. Then somebody said, well, if you take the blue pill, you stay in the Matrix and you go about your daily life. So I took the red pill. And my eyes were open on everything. Now, what people don't know about me is I used to be an ordained minister, and the veil was over my eyes. But when I was going through my seminary and I started reading all of these different literatures and Dead Sea Scrolls and the lost books of the Bible and the Torah, the Quran, I'll just say this. I would be a fool. Stay with me, because I know a lot of you grew up as Christians and all other sorts of religions, and I'm not trying to disrespect anybody's religion, but I ask a couple of questions. I say, well, how is it that everything in your life has to be proven except your religion? You can't see gravity, but you have faith in gravity because you've tested it out. You jumped off a step and you did not float. This is a question. And I know a lot of people don't like this conversation because they feel like if they get stretched outside of their religion, they won't be saved, whatever you believe. But here's another thing. There's over 4,200 religions. I repeat, there's over 4,200 religions. How do you know the one that you actually believe in is a real religion or is the real religion? Let me take something away from you. You can't have faith. You can't have faith. Faith is no longer in the equation. So how do you solidify? Matter of fact, you know what? You can have faith. I'll give you faith back, but you have never heard or read about the Bible. So everything, you was about to start going in tongues and you was about to start pulling out Bible verses. No. You never heard, seen, or read the Bible ever. You got your faith. How do you know the God you serve is a real God? Where am I getting to with this? See, most foundational Black Americans are Christian. And then when you ask them where did they get their religion from, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Okay, whatever, man, whatever. Semantics. Play with me here. Where did you get your religion? Where did you get your spirituality? Well, I grew up. This is really good. I grew up a Christian. Okay, so why do you believe in God? Why do you believe in the God that you serve? Oh, well, because brother, you got to have faith. Okay. Got to have faith as a mother see. Okay. I mean, what else? What else is there? Okay. You don't have the Bible. So what occurs now? You have no reference. You have nothing to continue to brainwash yourself. Because here's the thing. Somebody asked me this, and I had I forgot what was the question. But let me ask you guys this. Why would majority of foundational Black Americans be Christians? And the only answer is when they took our ancestors, when we got traded into slavery, because we know that some of us got stolen, some of us got sold, some of us got traded for certain things. Let's just keep it real. When did we receive Christianity? Because there was no Christian anything in Africa. Now, there was a hierarchy. There was different gods. They served different tribes, different countries. They did have different gods. We didn't get Christianity, right? Our African descendants came over during the slave trade, and they changed their names, and they started to whip, beat, torture us into Christianity. But see, I've told many Black people this, which they already knew. It's like we know this information and it's back here in our heads, but we don't really think about it, right? We don't really you know what? But the question is, you're still attached to that religion because it was ingrained in you, okay? It was like downloaded in you, like you had some computer connections connected to you and someone to download, and it's hard to rip away from it because it took me a while to rip away from it. It's a energy, it's an entity that gets inside of you and attaches itself, especially from the time you were born. This is the only thing that people preach and teach to you. And this is one of the handicaps in the Black community. Because the one thing that people want to know automatically is, well, and this occurred to me a lot of times on dates everywhere. Well, do you believe in God? That's what they say. Do you believe in God? Or what God do you serve? And I'm looking at it and I'm like, do I believe in God? I do believe there is a God. I believe there's a universal God. Oh, well, no. It's not the same. I believe in a universal God. Well, how you gonna be saved for your sins? That Jesus, who taught us this? Who started the brainwashing? In slavery, and again, people, oh man, that was so long time ago, and That don't mean nothing. No, it means everything. Everything that we do in the black community stems from slavery. Eating pork, we love ribs and bacon. Oh, well, everybody loves bacon, but you get what I'm talking about. All of those things are remnants and residue from slavery. But we don't like to believe that, but that's how we're handicapped. Because even though we can put a face on it, we can put a name on it, we can trace it back, it handicaps us, it cripples us, because we can't detach from it and think for ourselves and go do our own research. It's easier to be talked to. It's easier to be verbally taught. It's easier to be preached to than go do the own research yourself, because that takes real time. But in that, if any of you just took me up on a whim here and go do a little bit of research about it, you will start to find out a lot of things. That there's supposedly lost books of the Bible, like the book of Jasher, the book of Enoch, the book of Mary, okay, so on and so forth. But if you notice that religion has really kept black people very docile, very apologetic, very weary. Like, we got people who are committing atrocity against us, and we are hugging them in court. We are forgiving them. Like, there was this black African guy a couple years ago, back in the late 90s. This police officer said that he hit him, and he did not hit him at all. So the police officer beat him up, threw him in the back of the car, took him to the precinct where him and his partner beat him up even more. Dark-skinned brother from Africa. And then, to top it all, the police beat us up all the time. But here's the thing. He sodomized this guy with the nightstick. So he shoved a nightstick up his rectum. And he had all sorts of, issues, complications from that. What am I getting at? This is how buck breaking began. Slavery, the increase of homosexuality in the black community. This all occurred coming over here on slave ships, our ancestors being enslaved, and some people like, no, there you go again. Everything is not from slavery. I'm not saying everything. There's a lot of things that occurred in slavery that we are still traumatized from, because our parents have literally trained us to be punk ass bitches. We are docile. The increase of homosexuality and lesbianism is growing in the black community. And a lot of us would like to say, well, people are born like that, or people made a choice like that. I don't care about the argument how people came to where they become, but the truth is in the history of our people in this country. After, during slavery, because again, the history goes back. Some people say 1619 is actually 1526, when the first 100 slaves arrived on this land. But nonetheless, there's a lot of things, our eating habits, where when we was in Africa, if you go back, I research where I come from, majority of people that where I come from, they eat fish, potato, and vegetables, and some fruits. Fish, potatoes, vegetables, and some fruit. We get over here to America, and we have what they call a European diet. We have a European diet, and they eat a lot of the poor people in Europe. Back in the day, medieval times, they used to eat a lot of potatoes and bread. They ate that to keep them with, the carbs gave them energy, while the rich people ate meat, vegetables, and fruit. They couldn't afford that. They was actually had to give 45% of their crops to the kingdom, depending on what kingdom they was involved. This is mostly in Western Europe. And the problem with that is that those same traditions would pass down to us. So why do you believe? See, here's the thing. People don't believe none of this stuff, but it's the truth. when our people were in slavery, we were doing this. They gave us the same shit. We were eating any parts of the pig that they gave to us, and that's where our food and bread and potatoes. But this is not our real diet. So again, they cripple us. This is how white supremacy cripples us on every facet, every aspect of our being, religion, health, the way we think about our own people. They used to war us. What else? How the white slave masters used to rape the male black slaves in front of other slaves to make them terrified, because that was an ungodly act for men to have sex. Now, in modern day times, there are more homosexuals than there ever have been in the history. Okay, because of this new thing, and then the Western powers are pandering and coercing and forcing Africans to make it okay in their countries. This is how you cripple people. You know what? I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. Forget it. Think about it like this. When it came to sex in slavery, the white I want to say that not the white slave owners, but the people, I forgot the ones who keep the slaves in check. I forgot who they were. Let's just call them whippers. Okay, let's call them whippers. The whippers used to have sex with a male slave in front of all the other slaves to terrify them, to say it, N word, if you don't continue to pick cotton or pick this much cotton in this much time and have this much weight, then I'm gonna do this to you. They used to terrify us with sex. They used to have big, strong buck sons have sex with their sisters and mothers. Homosexuality was a European thing. The Romans used to do it. The Greeks used to do it. This is not an African practice. This was taught to us. Now they're trying to solidify and come up, and if you notice, it went away to prove that you were born homosexual. Think about that. Now, if you're homosexual, if you're a gay male or a gay female, I have nothing to do, or not talking about your sexuality. I'm talking about what I believe, how we got to this point. Christianity, buck breaking. What about literacy? Now, when we were in slavery, we wanted to learn how to read. Some of us even knew how to read back in Africa, but we didn't know how to read English. So we had to learn English. Then we had to learn how to recognize English letters. Then we had to learn how to recognize English words and English phrases, then put them into context to understand and comprehend what they were saying. So when we were released from slavery back in 1865, we started to read everything we can get our hands on. But then certain laws came out during those times that, hey, blacks still shouldn't be able to read. Blacks, if you are homeless or if you don't have a job, you go to jail. That moves us right back into what? Mass incarceration. That's all slavery was. That's all slavery was, with mass incarceration. Woo. Slavery was mass incarceration. Then when we were let go, not freed from slavery, when we were let go from slavery, Jim Crow came, and then they just made up all these policies and laws and regulations of how to gather us up all in one place again, and that was mass incarceration. Black people used to get locked up for everything. Black people used to get locked up for years for look. If you could not look at a white person in their eyes, and if you did, they sent you to jail for years. If a white person was coming down the street in some small towns in some areas, you had to cross the street so you're not on the same side as a white person. You cannot, of course, there was segregation, so you couldn't drink at water fountains. But a lot of these things were implemented lawfully by our legal system that we believe in to mass incarcerate us again. Politically, they cripple us. See, after mass incarceration and them gathering up hundreds of thousands of black men, and I'm not just talking about with Joe Biden, I'm talking about way before that with Jim Crow as well. Now there's not that many of us. So our power base, and everybody knows that the warriors of any race are the men. You'll have some female warriors in there, but females in a large group ain't gonna stand up and fight, especially other men. So you take away the warriors, who's gonna protect your female and kids? So we look at things politically, right? Here's something else. They're using this tactic right here, right now. And if you're Joe Biden support, I'm sorry, I don't support nobody. I support black people. I talk some things for black people, not all. You take away the black men, you take away the role models, you take away the mentor, you take away the strength of a people, and then you replace them with another man, and this is the white man. You replace them, you replace the black men with white men, then you start getting all sorts of zaddy worship and empowering black women to be distant and disconnected from their own men. When you start making women estranged from their own men, that is a race that is 100% divided when you divide the black men and women. And this is what they have done. If you have noticed, I think there's only one black guy. I could be wrong. There's only one black guy on Joe Biden's cabinet. But there's like black females. Some of them are immigrants. Some of them are gay. But there's more black females than anything else. And they're talking about this is the whole Me Too cabinet, Again, this solely separates the order of how things are, because you will ask most women, who is the leader of the household? They're going to tell you the man. So if we look at the U.S. as a household and you have a lot of women running it, is that a household out of order? I'm not projecting. I'm just asking a question. Because you will go to most women, especially those who are married, where who's the leader of the household? Oh, my husband. Not too many women who are married and who's been married for a long time are wearing the pants. But this is how they cripple us. They estrange our women from us. They largely incarcerate the men. So now we just have women and children fighting for our race, which we know. They need a leader. And in those leaders came white men. Now you see a lot of sisters dating white men. And I know some sisters like, well, there's a lot of black men dating white women. We all suffer from the same issue. See, the reason why I believe, and some black men won't account for this, subconsciously, we're still looking at as white people as a higher being than us. Where we was the first civilization. We was the first people. We're the ones who study and created, essentially astrology and understanding astrology and mathematics and all sorts of geometry. We're the ones who went in and made the sewers in Europe and essentially took them out of caves, and we started helping them build structures and walls and huts and houses, etc. We're the people who dominated and overran Spain? Where are the people? Where are the people who made the first boat? We're the people who made the first ship and went to many other lands. And here's the thing, a lot of white people already know this, but somehow they fool a large amount of black people to believe that we are the dumbest, despicable scum of the earth, that the only thing that we are the N-word. See, that's why it's important for us to read and know your history so you understand how they attack us on many different fronts. This is very strategic, and this is a military style of attack. Religion, homosexuality, political, mass incarceration, vaccines, back with the medical, yes. These are the many different fronts. The hell is that? many different fronts of how white supremacy attacks us. But we're too ignorant to say, you know what? What is Joe Biden going to do for black people? We are a race that's divided against each other. See, any house against themselves will fall, and we are a house. Foundational Black Americans, we're a house, and we are infighting, and we have been falling for a long time. We need to have an awakening. We need to have some sort of camaraderie where we come together, and we don't need everybody. Let's just be real. We don't need 40 million Foundation Black Americans. We need about 10 million, man. 10 to 20 million. That's all we need. We need a third. We need half to say, you know what? We understand our power in America. And your power in America is your vote and your dollar. Oh, and some black people, they trump up, well, you know, we got 1.3 amount of money in spending. Okay, now what? What are you going to do with that? And what they don't tell you in that 1.3 trillion of spending power that you have, they don't tell you that majority of that money is debt. Majority of that money is debt. And here it segues into another front that white supremacy cripples us. Financially, keep them poor. Keep them poor. You get what I'm saying? The many different fronts. We talked about religion. We talked about homosexuality. We talked about mass incarceration. We talked about medicine with vaccines. The biggest one of them all is keep them poor where they can't maneuver anything. Because what people don't understand, before the 60s, we had black business districts where we were empowering and employing ourselves. But during the summer, during Red Summer of 1919, the Red Summer of 1919, where majority of the black cities were attacked by white supremacists. Nobody knows this. I don't understand. Just look it up. Just look it up. Because we were just like the Asians here. They got Chinatown, Korean town, an Asian corridor, an Indian corridor. Up in New York, they got Jewtown. We used to have black business districts. And in those neighborhoods, we're talking about economics, in those neighborhoods, the black wood chopping factory supplied the black house contractor to build a house for black people. There was a whole economy within these black business districts. The black farmer who took his crops to the black grocery store sold it to the black family. That is why people like Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, John Henry Clark, a lot of these people believe that segregation, Dr. Claude Anderson, believed that segregation was the best thing for us. And Malcolm X said it the best. We cannot integrate and cohabitate without having violence. I'm paraphrasing. That is what Malcolm X said. And for some of you who just tuned in, again, this is Cigar Talk, where we talk about random things, money, politics, you name it. Tonight's cigar, this came on the cigar. This is called a Definition cigar. This Definition cigar is a black-owned cigar company, 3 black owners. They get them hand rolled in Nicaragua. This is a medium body one. The band is called the Silver Integrity Band. And also, this is called a Round Toro, just for you guys know, black-owned cigars. Again, that's Definition cigars. And this is how they continue to undermine black people with economics, because what they understand is if we have our own money, if we have our own access to money, then we can build and we can be just as powerful as any other people. They're still baffled. White supremacists, they still baffled. Like, no, we threw everything at these Negroes. We threw mass incarceration. We threw religion. We threw homosexuality. We threw politics with policies and laws and regulations against them to undermine them and cut them off. We destroyed their neighborhoods during the Red Summer of 1919. And also they tried to build back up in Tulsa in 1921. We destroyed that. We did the Highway Act to put highways through black communities to separate them, to bring all sorts of traffic and drugs into their neighborhoods. Then we took some of our 3-letter agencies to flood the black neighborhoods. Because with this is another crippleization of the black community. They got the 3- and 4-letter agencies that bring in cocaine inside of the black communities and got us hooked and strung. And again, more men went to jail, more men died of street violence against one another. Because here's the thing, all these black bootlicks and bootleg people out here, well, you know, I came up from that same neighborhood and I don't know why they can't do well because I've done well. This is what they say very eloquently. But the truth of the matter is, if you take away somebody's economics, if you take away somebody's money, if you take away how somebody makes money, and also you cripple them and you diminish the amount of people and percentage of people who can actually get jobs, then it's going to be violence. What people don't talk about, during the Holocaust, they put Jews in ghettos. And this is a term that Hitler came up with. And we are in ghettos. And Jews, before that time, they were a very calm, cool, collective, body people. They had businesses and shops. And, they didn't have a lot of murders. They weren't killing each other, just like we were prior to drugs. Drugs is another way they cripple the black community in the system of white supremacy and oppression. See, some people don't look at all the different fronts that white supremacy attacked us on that crippled the black community. But see, and again, this goes back to it, when you know your history, they can't use your history against you once you know it. Now you know the different ways that we are being attacked. What are you going to do? So you already know that the political system is a fraud, regardless of who you voted for. It's a fraud. When Donald Trump said that there was voter election fraud, he was right. Voter election suppression, he was right. Voter election oppression, he was right. But here's the thing. The same thing occurred when Obama. The same thing occurred with Bush. The same thing occurred with Clinton. Just look at it. Go back during those terms, like I did. I looked it up. During those terms, people were actually getting convicted in jail during all those presidencies because of voter fraud. But you're not going to understand this if you don't read. If you don't read. This is another front that they keep us crippled. Let's talk about entertainment. Uh-oh. Whoo. Entertainment. This is another area. This is another thing that they've done to us to cripple us. They cripple us They cripple us in entertainment by allowing us to entertain them. This is something that occurred when they brought us over here. They said, oh, these darkies, they sure is talented. Because a lot of Africans, even then, were very music oriented people, right? We've always been a very music oriented people. We knew how to play many instruments. So a lot of the Africans used to come over here and make instruments and start playing. Then that turned into, hey, I want you to play for these other slave masters. And we started doing shows and concerts. We're the first ones essentially to do shows and concerts because we was doing that prior to slavery. All the stuff we're doing now, we used to do back then, but it was more traditional, more cultural. But in the sense of competition, who's dancing the harder, who's playing the best. But they use us in the entertainment industry. Let's go back and build it back up by simply making us play for them, making us dance for them. And those things transformed and matured over the years. Then we started being comedians. And then we started getting into movies. But it was all a form of entertainment because we know essentially with movies, every time a black man played in a movie, he died. He died in like the first or second scene. And then if when he died, more times than not, guess what role he was playing? He was playing the thug. He was playing the criminal. He was never playing the innocent victim. He was never playing the cop. Never. And in the movies that black men didn't die, they were comedies. In the past 10, 20 years, there have been more black movies because of people like Tyler Perry. I take my hat off to him. Nollywood out there in Nigeria, they're doing big things. And they're getting a lot of things on Netflix. So I'll watch a lot of African movies too. I watch a lot of African movies, but this is how they control us. And then somehow they got us robbing against ourselves. They're robbing about things, how they killed another black man. And don't get me wrong, I listen to all types of music. I listen to rap. I listen to all sorts of stuff. But again, this is another way how they attack and divided the black community. But don't think for 1 second that we are horrible people, that we're dumb people, that we're not creative people, because we're all of those things. But we also have to understand and know how we have been crippled from being rich, powerful, and successful like white people. These are the different ways that we have been crippled, but if we don't understand our history, we don't understand how this came to be, then we will never know how we're still being attacked in the same way. Religion, homosexuality, mass incarceration, politically evil laws, regulations that undermined us. Okay, entertainment, and drugs. Some people may not even understand that those things were introduced to the black community. And there's proof. And then anytime we try to rise up, anytime we try to group together, any of those times, they destroy us with impunity. See, when Martin Luther King, even though his whole was nonviolent, because again, he was a Christian, so nonviolent, again, another criminalization, but when he started to wake up, when he started speaking to Elijah Muhammad, when he started talking to Malcolm X, and he came out with a speech. I forgot the name of the speech, but he came out with a speech 7 or 8 months prior to his assassination. And I want you guys to hear that speech. He's talking about black empowerment. He's talking about how integration probably was a bad idea. And the most important thing, he's talking about black nationalism. He's talking about black nationalism. And black nationalism is basically a movement for black people to empower themselves and be socially, economically powerful and successful. But it has to do with a form of segregation. And this what these powerful men knew. But they killed Dr. Martin Luther King. Okay. So then, even till this day, how they cultivated and made up as though the Nation of Islam assassinated Martin Luther King, and all of us watched that Malcolm X movie, and a part of that movie, if I'm not mistaken, is how one of the three-letter agencies that starts with a C somehow infiltrated the Nation of Islam and had some dirt on some of the low-level Muslims and tricked, coerced, threatened them with jail, and those brothers supposedly killed Malcolm X. But then there's another story that they just got some random black dudes off the street and had trumped up charges on them, and they assassinated Martin Luther King. But not for one moment do I ever think that it came from the Nation of Islam. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe Elijah Muhammad would do something like that. Just, I read the Message to the Black Man. And that doesn't mean that he didn't do it. I'm just saying I don't believe he did it. I don't believe the Nation of Islam had nothing to do with it. So they killed Malcolm X. Then they killed Malcolm X. And during that time, we understand that the Black Panther Party was around. And during that time, a three-letter agency started with a C. A three-letter agency started with an F. They started COINTELPRO, counterintelligence. And they used to monitor the Black Panther Party. And they used to start infighting against the Black Panther Party. And they had trumped up charges on the Black Panther Party. You name it. It was to destroy the Black Panther Party, and it worked. Because that was the most serious group next to the Nation of Islam that foundational Black Americans had. And I tell people from my research of history and religion, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, being a Muslim is the closest thing to some of the religions that we had in Africa that a lot of melanated people was actually involved with. But on TV, on mass media, or I call forgot what somebody called it, but the brainwashing box, they would have us to believe that Muslims are extremists, that Muslims are terrorists. Now, Black people, we know the difference between a Black Muslim and an Arab Muslim, or a Muslim who's an extremist. Like, that's not what we do. We don't strap bombs to our chest. Now, there was an African dude who was coerced and brainwashed, and he's the one who had the explosive underwear on. I don't know if he was part of Boko Haram, Nigerian terrorist group. I don't know if they traced that back to him, but they try to say he was a Muslim, and that, of course, he did it for extreme reasons to kill Americans. So that divides us as well too, because now we're confused about, are our Muslim terrorists or other Muslims terrorists? That's just something we have to look at. Let me read some of your notes. I've been talking here for almost 2 hours. I'm about done here. I see Steve Brown has said a lot. I'm sorry that the phone is shaking. I'm trying to read a lot. Wow. Steve, I can't read all your stuff, man, but I see that you've been saying a lot of great stuff. All right, I'm gonna continue. But thank you for being interactive, Steve. And if you guys got any questions, just let me know. But this is another way how they undermine us. When you confuse the people, one, and then they label. Here's another thing. This is crazy. How did you trick Black people to think, even though you know a little bit of history, that every Black person in jail is a criminal? Or when you see things happen to Black people, you will hear other Black people say something like, well, people still commit crimes, or Oh, well, you never know if he did it or not. How about this? How about we shut up and wait till real evidence comes out? And then we don't even know if that's real evidence because there's so many, they're still releasing black men who have been incarcerated before DNA times. There was this one guy who uh, was incarcerated for 26 years. This is recent. This is in the past 2 weeks. Look it up. Black man who was incarcerated for like 26 years. I think they try to charge him with rape of a white woman. I forgot what it. I think that's what it was. And he spent 26 years, and they tested the DNA because they could do that now. I don't know what they still going through all this DNA to release people. Um, but found out it wasn't his DNA, and they released him. Cigar talk. I'm done with that. So the conversation is coming to a close. For you guys who stayed with me for the hour and 46 minutes, I hope that I've gave you some good information that can help you to grow. Hopefully I gave you some things that you should think about. And my thing is, I'm not trying to change anyone's religion or political affiliation. I'm not trying to change any of that. What I'm trying to do is give you some insight and perspective. And maybe one day you will make the decision that I'm not going to affiliate myself with any political party. See, we should be policy people, not loyalists to Democrats or independents or Republicans. That don't mean anything to us. We're still the poorest people in this nation. We are the people who built this nation with our hands. Before they brought our African descendants over here and enslaved us, there was nothing over here. This is why they brought us over here, because when they came to Africa, they didn't see caves. They didn't see we were just living under trees. We had houses. They was made out of bricks. They was made out of stones. They were made out of mud. They were made out of clay. They said, okay, so these guys know how to build. Because what they also knew, if you trace back to Europe, they built Europe as well. The Moors did, which is our people as well. So when I see that we're the people who built this country, and I see the current condition that we're living in, then with all the information I gave you guys tonight, hopefully I'm changing somebody's mind to say, you know what? I'm not going to vote until they actually have hardcore tangibles, hardcore reparations. Because that's the two power plays that we have, Black people. We have our vote and we have our dollar. Just like this cigar tonight was a Black-owned cigar company called Definition Cigars. That's Definition Cigars. We can support our own people, even with the little things like cigars, because we have a lot of people out there doing a lot of great things, and we should search and seek them out and support our own. The less money that goes into Black people's pocket, we can create more jobs, more businesses, and employ our people. And what that does is that shows that the white economy, that the amount of wealth starts to decline. They're like, hold up, why are they supporting all these Black businesses? First, they love these Balenciagos, they love these Gucci, but now they want to go over and buy some Hadiakis. My friend loves these shoes. It's by a Black shoemaker. He makes them out of leather. They're called Hadiakis, and they spell them Hideo-aki. I don't know, but I know it's also with H. They're called Hadiakis, okay? And we need, and that's how we can really start to unite. See, we're not going to unite on perspectives. We may not even unite on ideologies, but we should unite on an agenda. We should unite on an agenda, employ and empower and spend your dollars with Black businesses and start to increase the amount of money we put out in the white economy. That would be a tall tale sign to them. We need to probably give these Blacks reparations. Because guess what? If this doesn't happen very soon, if this strategy does not happen very soon, we're soon going to be the fourth minority in this country And anything we say really ain't gonna mean anything to the powers that be. Because the white vote will always be split, 65, 45, etc. So then they uh, depend on the minority votes to get into office, especially the Democrats. But if we don't vote, we say, hey, you want our vote? We want reparations. And we want it to sound and look like this. If you want our vote, this is the power we have now. We got probably like one more election. Listen to me. You think I'm lying? For people who are still listening to me, we have about one more election to prove to them that we're serious. If not, it may be too late because there's going to be too many immigrants over here who are going to undermine Black Americans, and they're going to vote based upon immigration policies. They're going to vote for immigration money, like TAF, temporary assistance for needy families. That's an immigration policy that when immigrants come over here, they get money from. That's called temporary assistance for needy families. Look it up. It's for immigrants, and they know this. That's why they come over here. They all sleep in one house. They save their money. They build a business, and then they talk about you bad. Oh, these Black Americans, they over here lazy. Well, you came over here with a bag. Now you have a large house, BMW, Mercedes. Oh, well, I worked my butt off. I did. How did you come over here with nothing, and then all of a sudden you had help? You had help. And some immigrants would tell you this. Yeah, I got the money. I got Medicaid. I was part of the CHIP program, the CHIP. They'll tell you. But these are the different ways of how they cripple the Black community. And hopefully for you guys who stay, again, I've awakened you. I have enlightened you with some information that probably have you start thinking different about you, your future, and also your family. This is Financial Literacy 101. You guys have a great, wonderful night. I'm out.